through of my travel journal that I created for a big trip that I'm taking. And I started with a paperback book I mentioned in earlier blog posts. And I had the binding cut off and spiral bound it after I had added some pages at Staples. That whole process only cost me about $5. So to me, I prefer spiral binding for journals because I can flip them open. I liked the fact that I could take the book, use some of the original pages, as well as add journal pages of my own. So I'll just kind of walk you through. I chose the Stone Age Hunters because I'm doing a trip, and part of it is following a journey that was duplicated in a fiction book, but based on real places, called Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Auel, and it was set in prehistoric times, so really was fitting. So a lot of people are familiar with this book series and like it, and I was able to find some maps online that actually label the journey of the main character, who shares my middle name, Ayla, and it shows where they are in places currently known today. So I was able to mark out, exactly where I'd be going. I used some Project Life cards in here because I thought they were fun. I just made sure that when I brought this all to Staples that everything, was all lined up this way. So when they were punched, that everything lined up together. So I had some pieces. Now I created these journal pages. I just bought a blank journal book and I cut them down to fit. I did a little bit of stamping there, as you can see. And then behind each one of those journal pages, I also added a blank piece of paper for photos that we'll be taking. Now some of this is actually pieces of the original book. In addition to that, one of the books in the series is the travel series where it talks about specific places. I tried to pull, I got a used copy of that, and I tried to pull out pieces of the book where it's actually talking about certain places that tied into where we're going to be going. So I thought that would be kind of fun. And I've added a few embellishments here. I'm still, I'll probably add a few more embellishments before I go again. But I have these individual maps, and as you can see, I put a little arrow there because while this is a map of the book itself and the different things that happened in the book, that arrow is like where I'm actually going to be. So I kind of get a feeling of where I'm going to be based on the book in my actual trip, which I think, will just make it mean all that much more. So as you can see, I'm still flipping through. I have more Project Life cards, different pages to the book. I've added some washi tape in here, different things as I kind of flip through quickly. But you can see, I have basically I've created a journal page for each of the days. I've tried to label each location that we're going to be visiting and how it ties into the book, because for me this is almost like a book pilgrimage, I guess you'd say. The final destination of our trip is to the final destination of the travelers in the book, which is kind of fun, and it's going to be to the caves that they went to live in. So as you can see, I've added maps to different places. I'm doing here where we flew from here to here, and I have my journal page, little flight ticket here, and I've labeled some of the little blank pages where I'm going to put pictures in the future. I tried to keep quite a bit of the pages of the book because I thought they had some neat pictures and different things. This here is a photo from when I was at this particular location about 20 years ago. So I wanted to kind of document, this is the first time my daughter's going with us, but this is someplace that we had been, and we wanted to go back and take her. And that's a picture of me from 20 years ago. Yikes, dated clothing. But I thought it would be kind of fun to document that fact that, we were there years and years ago. But I'm seeing I've got more, you were here with the washi tape, more journal pages. It kind of keeps in the same vein as we go through the book. As you can tell, we're quite a lengthy trip we're taking. I wanted to make sure I had enough room to write and put pictures. So in the end, the final destination, I have the destination card. This is a caption from the book where they actually see the caves for the first time that we're going to be seeing. And you know, I tried to just keep bits and pieces from the original book because it all really ties together for me. And then in the end, what I did is I took the back cover to the book. Now this is one of the books in the series, The Plains of Passage. This is the travel book where they journey from one end of the Danube River to the other end, over a glacier and into France. So, you know, I just wanted to have this again. This is like one of my most treasured book series of all times. And I do have my middle name from the series as well, so it has a lot of sentimental meaning for me. So hopefully you enjoyed this walk through my travel journal. And I did have the clear plastic protectors put on at Staples as well when they did the binding, just to protect it a little bit more. And when I get back and I add all my pictures and it's all completed, I will post another video. I also made a travel journal for my daughter for the trip, and wanted something a little bit simpler for hers. I started with a hardcover book, so unfortunately they weren't able to punch through the hardcover book, so I cut the cloth from the older book and attached it to a piece of cardstock to make my cover, and then I had that punched and bound, you know, with a regular spiral binding at Staples. On the back, this is So Her. I thought this would be cute kind of back cover since I couldn't use the original cover from the book. So I used a lot of pages from the original book because it was about Paris, which is one of the places we'll be traveling. I did add a few of the little Project Life cards in here, in addition to journal pages and some blank pages for photos for later. As you can see, the journal pages, you know, I stamped each page and put the date and where we were going to be. In addition, each photo page has a little stamp of a camera with a different saying in it. So I thought that would be kind of a fun way to do it. This one says Photo Bomber. So this is kind of a simplified version. I thought it was fun just because this had some nice imagery. I added a few cards glued in, a few little stickers and embellishments. But for the most part, you know, I left the book here with some cards. I thought that she could then, you know, add what she wanted after the fact. So it's just a little bit different version, a little bit less complicated than the one I made for myself. But, you know, I think it's fun. It's a little bit smaller in size, just from the nature of the book. So hers will be actually easier to carry around than mine will be. But I wish they could put a slightly smaller binding on this one. I know it'll work great when I have all the pictures and everything inside. It'll get thicker. But for whatever reason, even though they're almost the same size, they couldn't get this size binding on this book. So hopefully you've enjoyed this walkthrough of the journals, and I'll catch you next time. Happy scrapbooking!